Welcome to episode 24, nearly quarter of a century, as Josh has pointed out, of Ring Talk, the Goodwin Boxing weekly programme. With us, we've got Steve Goodwin, as always, apart from when he's not here, where he was off in Turkey last week, looking nice. Well, you're not that brown, are you? I thought you'd be...
The weather was worse than here.
Was it?
It was terrible. There was only one day of sun.
Yeah. What did you get up to? I saw some nice dinners out.
Yeah, just dinners out, drinking, socialising, we were chilling out. It was a really nice break, but the weather could have been better, but it was a really nice break with good company.
Was it a phone-off break, or...?
No, unfortunately not. It was for a few days, and then I'd say the last 2 or 3 days I was working, doing boxing stuff. Keeping
up the we never stop ethos.
Yeah, unfortunately we had a few things to sort out, but it wasn't too bad, really. Just a couple of bits. But yeah, on the whole, it was never going to be total break when you got shows and fighters fighting within 7 to 14 days of coming back. So
so you're gearing up for what's going to be a busy weekend.
Yeah.
So Saturday night, you've got 2 people that are involved in the world of boxing. I'll say 2 people. Sorry, one up in Leeds, being Nicola Adams, and then you've got your own show down at York Hall.
Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy weekend for me, really, because I'm going up to Leeds early morning for the weigh-in on Friday.
Right.
Normally I'd stay overnight and then come Saturday, but I can't get out of this. We're going to see the Shires at the Royal Albert Hall on Friday night. So I've got to go from Leeds back to the Albert Hall, see the Shires. Then I've got to drive back up to Leeds for Saturday and then drive back home after the fight.
So Nicola, if you're watching, that's the commitment this man's putting into you.
It's got to be done. And I'm missing the York Hall show, which I'm gutted about, because I really don't like missing any of the Goodwin York Hall shows. So
well, I know you always miss it, like, as the manager of so many of these lads that are going to be on there. I often see you're one of the few that's able to sit and watch almost every fight, the ones that you've got a vested interest.
And then you see every fight afterwards, and it sort of feels a bit. I've got one fighter in Leeds, and I've got 18 fighters in London. I'm going where the one fighter is, but in this instance, it's Nicola's first fight under my management, so I feel I need to go to that. But I do feel. Sort of gutted I'm not with the others.
And I mean, for those that never see, Steve's always, win, lose or draw, always up on the corner after the fight, chatting with the lad as they come down the steps, have a chat with them by the ringside, and then they walk off. But every single fighter, bar none, I think I've ever seen, you have that little conversation that's just between you and them and their trainer, and then they go off and do their own thing.
That's really important, and I think and then if somebody has lost, I always, which hopefully is not too often, but if they lose, then you'll go backstage to see them, because it's very important. You need to be there more when they lose and when they win. But so I am really gutted, but I will ring every single boxer up on Sunday and speak.
Keep your phones on.
Yeah, because on Sunday I'll be ringing every one of them. So
alright, so let's go up. Nicola Adams fighting up in Leeds on the undercard of the world title fight for Josh Warrington, Lee Selby. Your first management with Nicola, or first fight where you're her manager. How much kind of involvement do you have with her in the build up to it? And
probably today, long phone call and about 8 or 9 text messages just today and phone calls. So, so it's quite. We'll have a longer chat when I see her this week. But it's quite a bit, to be fair.
So is that just making sure she's comfortable, she's in a good place, she's ready?
Making sure that all the little. Any little things that have to be done are done, so try and take away any stresses and stuff like that, because it's her first 10 rounder and her first fight after a bit of layoff is a big thing for her to go back to Ellen Road in Leeds.
Hometown.
So no, it's great. She's a really nice girl, and I'm hoping it's the start of a very good relationship long term. I mean, there's a fascinating documentary of Lomachenko, I don't know if you've seen it, where it looks into his behind the scenes basically, and talks with his it doesn't talk with his father, but it shows him his father's training mechanisms with him. But then he's got Klimas, who's his manager, and it shows everything that his manager does. It's a one-to-one relationship, so Klimas doesn't have other fighters, he purely looks after Lomachenko. It's mad, like Lomachenko's life is just laid out for him. He turns up, trains, and then goes home, and his wife's been picked up from the airport, his kids have had their schools sorted, all this stuff, and you think that's all the stuff like fans. Fighters at that level, you definitely need to do that. And I've been brought in as a manager very late when this fight's already been done. So after this fight, I'll be able to take an even more hands-on approach.
Yeah,
so
excellent.
Be good. But I'm looking forward to winning a world title. It'd be great to be part of it.
Yeah, so it's a big building fight for it, isn't it, up in Leeds?
Yes, for sure.
And then, down at York Hall, as you said, unfortunately you won't see any of it.
Well, I will see it the next day because I'll get the videos. And
well, that's true. Every guy will...
I will get every fight. I will sit at home when I get home from Leeds because I'm hoping to be home before everybody gets back from York Hall. That's my plan, because after Nicola fights I won't be hanging about. I'll be straight, after I've seen her, I'll be straight back. I'll watch the fights when I get home. I'll just get home and watch it, sit there and watch all the fights and then bring everybody up the next day. But I think it's really important. There's some really, really good fights on. If you take the main event, which I think is a cracker, the Prospere Weise fight, for me, two fighters that at the heavier weights that are so exciting. Jumah, who is potentially could be anything.
Yeah.
He wants the Chamberlains of this world, Acolis of this world. He wants them now. He wants one fight here and he wants them now. I don't think they'll want him now, but he wants them now. So we're going to progress him through to titles. He's been mandated for Wadi Camacho's Southern Area title. But obviously Wadi's got bigger titles on the horizon, so we'll see how that plans out.
And again, it must come down to the risk reward, really. For someone like Wadi, who hasn't got that many years left in the sport, do you really want the challenge of a Jumah at that stage of your career with the Southern Area? Like, don't get me wrong, because as a British, then there's an awful lot more in the line. That Southern Area that he's defended so admirably many, many times, he's got one last go, I guess, one last push at those bigger titles. Do you really need the work?
Exactly. Provided he gets the Commonwealth, which is pretty much a done deal, then I think he'll vacate and let Deion fight somebody for the Southern Area. Probably one of your lads, wasn't it? You've got. Well, we got a few. Well, possibly, but there's also a couple of lads that are non-air lads, Richardson.
Oh yeah.
Spills Demetriou. We're quite happy to accommodate either of them. Yeah. So.
That'd be a cracking fight, Richard Riakporhe.
Well, we've already offered it to them once, have turned it down. Oh. But he had left Ted Bammy, so he was in a bit of... Richard Riakporhe, any of them, we'll take them straight away. Yeah. So Richard Riakporhe will get the first call. Yeah. Spills Dimitri will get the second call. If not, then we'll find somebody else. No, we want to make sure these people want to fight for Southern Areas, and we get a criticism that people say sometimes we match fighters against fighters. Well, I want to prove that's not the case, because if Deion does come through, we'll offer every non-Goodwin fighter the opportunity first. Yeah. Can't do any more than that, can we? Yeah. See how many phones get answered to... anybody. So Deion will take on anybody for the title. So Deion's on there on Saturday. We'll come back to the main event a bit later. And then obviously the debut of John Palata. Yeah. I had a really nice text from Graham Everett, who Sam Sexton went down to spar him. Yeah. And Graham sent me a text saying, "We've just sparred John Palata, he's very, very good." So that was really nice for Graham to do that. So full credit to him. And so we're really excited. I'm really excited to see his debut. I'm predicting that he's fighting an undefeated kid from Warburton. I'm predicting he stops him. I think John Palata's fast and quick. I think we're watching a new heavyweight star on Saturday. I think we will see. So if you're not going, go down and watch this kid. He's very, very, very good. I've heard third-hand knowledge. Don Charles has been impressed with him in the gym. Yeah. Has been very impressed with how far he's come in this short period of time that he's been handling. So that's very good. And I'm not disrespecting someone like Nick Parpa, who's 5-1, who's progressing through, because Nick's got a big, bright future ahead, and so have the others. These are the two. But obviously Jumah is further ahead as a cruiserweight than Nick is, and a heavyweight always does that. Don't forget also Darrell Church is fighting for the challenge belt. Darrell's having his first big fight after the Jordan Joseph fight, where he fought valiantly, but it didn't go his way that night. Because he stopped Ricky Askew, didn't he? He looked good in that last fight. He looked really good, I thought, and that's a great stoppage that he got in it. But I always say to a fighter, when you've had a loss like you had against Jordan, he wanted the straight rematch, and Jordan didn't want that anyway. So, but I always say to a fighter, come back, get a confidence boosting win, and that would have really, really built up his confidence. Yeah. And now he goes into this fight full of confidence, does Darrell, and I think it'll make him a lot. That win last time will make him a lot better fighter, and I think he'll look very good on Saturday. Yeah. I'm hoping to see him put on a really good performance. It's not an easy opponent he's got. The opponent he's got, Borisov, he's the one that fought Sam Stokes when Stokes got disqualified. Oh, right, yeah. When Sam Stokes bit the fellow, I think. And so because Borisov comes out aggressive, and I think Sam Stokes, when he fought him, was getting hit. and he didn't respond well to that. And but Borisov is a very dangerous and capable fighter.
Darrell should have quite a size advantage, height-wise, over him.
I think he'll outbox him and look good against him. But the point about Borisov, as he did with Sam Stokes, he does throw.
Sticks it on him.
He sticks it on him, so that'll be really good for Darrell. And I think he'll look very good.
Ollie Pattison's got a...
Ollie Pattison's off.
Oh, is he? Oh, right, fair enough. Breaking news. Sorry.
Ollie's basically, he's got his new gym that opened. He's been working night and day getting his gym open. Yeah. To be honest, he wasn't. I spoke to him today. He just said he's just washed out from it all. So it would be fair enough. So he's going to be back in September, which is fine. It's the right decision not to fight. I won't run through the whole card again because we did that the other week, but there's some really, really good up-and-coming fighters. Dean Richardson steps up to 8 rounds for the first time, and he's a
tough fight.
Willie Warburton will come and give it to Dean. But the point is, if Dean's what we think he's going to be, then this is the perfect fight for him. Dean Warburton will not fall over and will be standing at the end of 8 rounds, I would imagine, and he will give plenty back over an 8-round fight.
William Warburton hasn't been stopped since 2008, I think. 2010.
You're not going to stop him. You're not going to stop him, and so I think. But that's why if you're doing 8 rounds, though, realistically, do you want somebody that's going to fall over in 2?
Yeah.
There's no point doing 8 rounds unless you're going to give somebody who gives you the distance. But I think Dean will learn so much from this fight, and he's a champion in the making.
And also, Warburton's coming off the back of that win against Aaron Morgan.
Yeah,
just a couple of weeks back.
And Aaron Morgan was
highly touted. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that fight. I think that will be an interesting one.
Because the thing with Aaron Morgan, he was doing well, and then Warburton done him in 6. So Dean's always got to watch out for that, because there's always a risk. But we've covered the whole thing before. I'm looking forward to the William Webber return, Reece Catamol. I think that's an exciting development. I think there's just so much. I don't want to go through all the card again.
So if we touch the main event, then,
let's go on to the main event
earlier. So Nathan Weise, K Prosper, English title eliminator, super lightweights. So you've got K, who super fit, super strong looking, failed to deliver in the Raheem Noble fight. Nathan Weise, who has promised a lot but never quite delivered it. So it's really an opportunity for both lads to come together, and this could be their moment, really.
I mean, for Nathan, he's come down a weight now to super lightweight for the first time. So it'll be very interesting to see what he's like. He's a very slick boxer. But he was undone by Johnny Garton, wasn't he? Johnny's a good welterweight, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Nathan look very, very good for quite a few rounds.
Yeah.
And because I think if you look at the 2 boxers on the face of it, you may say that Nathan has the better boxing skills perhaps, but Kay possibly has the better all-round game. So I think it's a great fight. I'm not going to give a prediction on it because it's not in my program, but I think it's a really good fight, and for both fighters it's the right fight. The winner will go on, and I'll do my very best to make sure the winner goes on and has a big shot at something. And for the loser, they'll have to, obviously it's going to be their last chance, because they're both in their 30s of getting that certain big titles.
Yeah, I mean, Kay probably carries the more power, although that might be disingenuous to Nathan, who's coming down in weight. So we haven't seen necessarily what power he's going to carry into that. If he can carry a welterweight's power into the super lightweight, then he could be a dangerous puncher.
If the K Prosper that fought Raheem Noble turns up, then Nathan will win.
Yeah.
That's for a fact.
Yeah. Looking for bombs without setting anything up.
And Nathan wins that fight. So that would be a fair assessment. So K Prosper has to bring something at a higher level than he's done before. Because if you look at Nathan's K Prosper's resume, the best opponent he fought was Raheem Noble.
Yeah.
And if you take Raheem Noble away, the best opponent he's going to have faced is Nathan Weise.
Yeah.
So he's up in levels from what he's fought before.
Yeah.
So not saying he can't go further, not saying Nathan can't go further, but Nathan also, when he's risen to the higher level, has not gone past that higher level.
Yeah.
So both of them are there saying, which one of us is going to make the breakthrough?
It's the opportunity for one of them
to make the breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great fight.
Excellent. And then we'll look at the new signings. So you signed one new lad that's announced today on Tuesday.
Yeah, we've got more to come, but Kieran McGhee, really interesting kid. He turned over with Carl Greaves in 2012. Had 4 fights. it was really weird because he started off as a homeboy, then was sent on the road, then went back as a homeboy again, and he said when he went on the road he won, but he never got the decision, which I totally believe him. But he didn't really understand what was going on. He thought by going away, nobody explained. Well, he didn't remember being explained to that when you go away, it's a much more difficult thing. So he didn't really get the business. Yeah. So he got sick of it because he retired. So now he's come back, and we've explained how it works properly.
Bit older and wiser.
Older, wiser, and much more ready to go. Very talented. So I'm really looking forward to him. And
he's a welterweight, isn't he?
Yes. He'll be out in September, but he hasn't fought for 5 years, I think it is. So we've got to get it. But we last fought, he was only 21. He turned pro at 19, 20. Yeah. He didn't really know what was going on. And it's very difficult. I'm sure that Carl's a good manager. He would have explained it to him, but he probably didn't really grasp it or understand it. But now he's a lot more clued up as to what he wants out of boxing.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go on, Lomachenko, did you see him at the weekend?
I watched I got up in the middle of the night in Turkey and watched it. I watched the last 4 rounds. Yeah. I thought, I know other people are saying it wasn't a good fight. I thought it was very entertaining for what I saw. He's just very, very special, isn't he? Yeah. And I thought Linares fought well. I thought, I know it wasn't the ideal training camp with not having his own trainer, that's in the corner, but I thought he fought well. I just think Lomachenko is just special.
I was fascinated by it. I was sat enthralled at 2 o'clock in the morning on my sofa. I rarely get up for American fights. I'll just catch them the next day. But yeah, no, it was the momentum shift through the fight was so enthralling. Lomachenko took a while to build in, get his confidence, I guess assume or work out that you're not going to get hurt moving up into a lightweight division. Built his confidence and got knocked. Had to rebuild his confidence, and then Linares just seemed bereft of confidence entirely. Yeah. Probably by the end of the 5th, but then he got it back. And then I
was speaking to Mickey Amou. He really wants Richard Commey to fight Lomachenko.
Does he?
He really, really fancies that fight. So, and it's interesting because I think Richard's going to get his world title fight this year, and he said then they're going to hope to win it, and then you hope to fight with Lomachenko. That's their plan.
Yeah, because he's in line for Robert Easter, isn't he?
Easter's fighting Garcia in the unification. Yeah. Garcia beats Easter, then Garcia will vacate. They think to other things. Then Commey will fight for the vacant. He'll win the vacant. Then he goes for Lomachenko.
How fantastic, the young lad who fought on your shows, has been at York Hall. Mickey, you see him about all the time, lovely bloke, but they can be mixing with the names of Mikey Garcia, Robert Easter, Lomachenko.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, it's great. It should be an inspiration to anyone. Anyone that's lacing up their gloves for Saturday night.
Richard Commey had a 6-rounder on a Goodwin show. Fought a Commonwealth Eliminator on a Goodwin show, and won a Commonwealth title on a Goodwin show.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyone that's lacing them up on Saturday night, there's your inspiration.
It's all possible.
Yeah, and one that we forgot actually, that I just wanted to give a quick mention to Adrian Martin, who's fighting Saturday night, who, a lot of his personal stuff, he keeps it to himself. I know he doesn't really publicise it, but he's gone through some tumultuous times.
Totally.
Still is, but he's, he was going to take that longer break from the ring, but he's able to get in there, and huge respect for him in doing that.
I was on holiday last week in Turkey. We were talking about Adrian, but you wouldn't believe this, but it's true. We spent about 20 minutes talking about Adrian Martin over dinner. Honest to God, he's probably the one boxer we spoke about over dinner. We were talking about him, and everybody was really like, "Oh my God," about his story. Yeah. So which Adrian was at that. He got discussed in Turkey last week, and it was on my holidays.
Ironically, if Adrian was there, you'd spend about 2 hours and 20 minutes chatting with Adrian Martin. Yeah. He likes a good chat.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He's a lovely bloke. So all the best again on Saturday.
Yeah, fantastic.
We'll move on to questions.
Okay.
Again, I've not printed them out. The first one we've got in from an anonymous question asker, although I know who it is around managers and managers in boxing using the term managers. So they cited in this one Sam Jones, who's the manager of Joe Joyce, but he's not by any means alone in this, but that's what the question was about. So, is it fair that people who claim to be managers in the sport don't necessarily have licenses? Should there be some form Should there be some form of filtering? I'm have to reword this slightly. Should there be some form of filtering that stops people from claiming the term, and should the board intervene?
So I know Sam, so it's a little bit difficult for me if you're specifically saying him.
Yeah, so take Sam out of it, but there are others as well.
Let's talk something generic, because I have a problem. I do have an inherent problem with this. I mean, I had to be a promoter for 3 years before I became a manager.
Before you can even sit the exam to become a manager, or
go through the
licensing
to become a manager. So the fact that there are many people out there masquerading or calling themselves boxing managers, going in the ring with boxers as their managers.
Which is a thing, because you're not allowed in the ring unless you've got a licence.
Correct.
Right.
But it's happening all the time.
Even Kerry Katona was in at the weekend. I don't know what she was doing. No. But he waving a flag around for Peter Madonna. But.
So, in effect, but the problem is, and there's no disrespect to people like Sam or people that can do a job, there are rules. There are rules set by the Boxing Board of Control about managers.
Yeah.
And everybody has to do it for 3 years and go through the process.
So they need to hold another licence, whether it's timekeeper, whip, boxer, matchmaker,
for 3 years.
Or promoter is.
I mean, a boxer is not allowed to self-manage until they've been a boxer for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yet the board are allowing people that are not managers to do everything as a manager and use other people's licences to do it.
And so the reason, I guess, for that, the 3 year element, is that management outside of the ring, outside of the boxer, is probably the most important role, in that it's handling the contracts, handling the money. You kind of explained some of the things earlier that you have to do as a manager, but also plotting the future for the boxer.
But what's basically happening, though, these guys are not actually officially their manager.
Yeah.
Because they're going to people, and I get it asked of me quite a lot, would I manage somebody on paper so somebody else can do the management? And the answer is always the same, no.
So you control nothing, you're just there as a name.
I'll probably get paid or so, probably money in it.
Yeah.
But I've always said no. Anybody I manage, I manage. And if I'm not managing them, then I won't do the job. But people out there will be, it's like a manager for hire. They will use their licence to be a manager. It happens with promoters as well. You see promoters who use somebody's licence, they're not really the promoter.
Or you see somebody's name on a show where they live 300 miles from it, and you think, something doesn't quite add up.
And they're not necessarily there.
Yeah.
So there are problems at the moment, and I think that it's something that the board should look at, because you should not have people masquerading as managers if they are not managers. I understand a boxer needs a commercial manager, because if you wanted somebody to go and secure advertising, sponsorship, TV appearances for a boxer, then you need a commercial manager. So a boxer needs a boxing manager and a commercial manager. But there are two differences. But what you're getting is the commercial managers hooking up with charging the fees for a boxing manager, if you follow me. This is something that the board seem to not be bothered about, or turning a blind eye to, or can't do anything about it. So I think, in answer to the question, a lot of managers are getting really peeved about this, and they feel it's very unfair that they are not getting boxers because other people that are not managers are doing it. I've even got an example of one of these so-called managers. He's going to boxers and trying to poach them from other managers and encourage them to break the contracts, and he can't get touched.
Because he's not a licence holder.
He's not a licence holder. So he's encouraging them and showing them how to break contracts.
Right.
And the board can do nothing to him, but he is masquerading, and people would know him as being a manager.
So it's not even that he would act as a middleman. So if you had a manager there and a manager there, he's not acting in the middle saying, break that, come to me, and then I'll send you off to them. He's just saying, I'll take you on. Yeah,
and then when you take you on, he says, I'll put in that person's name there.
Wow.
I'll break the contract. And he goes and meets them while they're under contract. That's tries to get them to break contracts.
Really poor.
And that's going on.
Yeah. So, in an ideal world, the board would intervene and handle that. But
what the board would say, the board would say, and I've got all respect for the board, I have, but the board would say we're not aware of it until somebody makes a complaint.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's going on. It's basically blatantly in front of you, so they don't need anybody to do that. They need to. It's quite apparent what's going on.
Yeah. Look at the ones that are in the ring that don't have licences. There's a start.
And then you need to, and either abolish the 3 year rule and give these people licences, if that's what you decide to do, or make them test and say, well, we won't have a 3 year rule. Because it's unfair that a boxer can be managed by an unlicensed manager, technically, and can't get a licence to manage himself because he only had a boxing licence for 2 years.
Yeah. No, that's true, actually, when you look at it that way.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right, and the other question we had was from regular contributor Paul Oldtie. Thank you very much, Paul. Again, going back to management, if you were Hughie Fury's manager, what would you advise him to go after at the moment? So Hughie, who picked up the British at the weekend, really good performance against Sam Sexton, but now he seems to be stuck almost in a limbo, doesn't he? That you've got these young, hungry lads coming up that don't offer you anything for the British. But, you know, are you really going to be the investment? Is anyone going to invest in you to get a world title shot, a Wilder or a Joshua? Probably not. Are you going to be offered it as a voluntary? Not with his awkward style and, you know, lack of marketability.
Friendly,
So what would you do if you were...
That's a difficult one, isn't it? Because what you would say is Peter Fury took Tyson Fury with Mick Hennessy to a world title, didn't they? They did that. They did that for his nephew. So they have got the capabilities and the skill set to do that.
But it's worth noting, because people don't always recognise it with Tyson, he spent years getting positioned into those mandatory positions because Klitschko never wanted to fight him, because he knew what a tough ask it was to get through him. There's stories of Klitschko invited Fury out to training camps but never sparred him. It was the only fighter he ever invited out there that he never sparred. He took all the young, hungry fighters out there. So Tyson, for years, was being, you know, number 3 over here, number 2 over there. They had to
But they did it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did it. And it was, people don't forget that it was Mick Hennessy and Peter Fury that did this.
Yeah.
It was only when Tyson Fury went to Peter Fury that his career spiraled. If you remember that before he had him, he had life and death with John McDermott.
Yeah. Arguably lost it.
Well, I thought we lost. You had the Steve Cunningham fight, which was early days. Peter Fury turned him around.
Peter Fury wasn't in the Steve Cunningham fight, was he? He couldn't get the visa from America.
So he wasn't involved. So until Peter, it was I think he was involved in part of the training, but I don't think he was in the corner. So I don't think he was fully involved in there. But if you think he turned Tyson Fury from a John McDermott and getting knocked down by Steve Cunningham into a world champion. And Mick Hennessy was there all of the way. So I think you've got to say that their track record of being able to do it is there. Woe beside me, who've never been able who have never had a fighter at that level try to manoeuvre to give to give them advice as how to do it. If you ask me of how to get somebody into a British title position, a Commonwealth title position, win a Southern Area, English title, yes, I'll advise you, because I can do that and I've got a proven track record for doing it, and I know what I'm doing. I think I'm really good at it, but I would leave that to the people that have proven it, and I wouldn't want to disrespect those that have achieved it before by trying to tell them what to do.
Alright, so spin it around a bit. If you were in charge of Hughie Fury, who would you be targeting next? Like, would you go for the Joyce fight for the Commonwealth, or do you start going into the ranking bodies and trying to build
Well, I think the biggest problem that he's got is, I mean, that was Mick's obviously first TV date for a while with Channel 5, because they tried the pay-per-view before with which you can't make money.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem he has is getting a backer. And the other problem that you've got as a heavyweight, if Eddie Hearn gets hold of the heavyweight belts like he's trying to, you're going to find it very difficult to break through, because Eddie Hearn will control it with the American boxers and the UK boxers.
You'll be in a long queue of people.
And he'll block you out, won't he? Because if you want to fight, he'll feed you Dillian White, or he'll feed you the next one.
Yeah.
He'll feed you all the peripheral fighters.
Miller.
You know, they're all the ones that he will feed them to keep them off the beaten track. So I think it's very difficult logistically with the power struggle that's going on in boxing. And if the Eddie Hearn thing works in America, I think it's very, very, very difficult for them. It's not going to be as easy as it was last time.
Yeah.
So I think it's very hard to target somebody. The only way, they've got to get him into a mandatory position.
Yeah, which could take a good few years.
And it's going to take investment.
But he's young enough as well, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's going to take investment.
Yeah.
And has Mick in this current situation got the investment to be able to deliver that? Or will they have to go to somebody like Frank Warren and try and get them to put the investment into him? But it's a very difficult situation that they're in, and I'm not aware of what their ongoing TV deals are, but Channel 5 are not going to be able to compete with Sky Sports or This American money, or BT, are they?
Well, they did great numbers, didn't it? 1.3 million, I read somewhere. Shocked by that. It was that's great numbers for it.
It's a very good number because it's a lot higher than the McGuigan's show was a couple of months ago. I think Josh Taylor was much like, I think that was like 400 or something. I've published that. So but it's heavyweight boxing, isn't it? People buy into heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, and the Fury name as well. As much as there's a split between them.
And you probably got, as much as it's crazy, you must seem Kerry Katona for whatever bizarre reason getting involved. But
the loose women crowd will.
But the casual is going to think, what's Kerry Katona doing to a 2 million things putting on things? I'm going boxing tomorrow night, tuning to Channel 5. You probably don't realise that probably generated quite a few.
Absolute madness. I don't understand.
but it probably does.
But it's so bizarre. Like a woman who hasn't had a hit in about 15 years is renowned for just living her life in the tabloid newspapers, and seems to bring in some form of following.
Jordan was the same. Whatever she did got following. I think there's this celebrity. I mean, you've even got reality. Going top somebody. You get these people out of Tower, doing reality TV programs about their life.
Yeah.
What on earth are we? And my wife watches all this. Not for me, I'm in the other room. But I mean, what on earth are people doing watching this rubbish?
I agree. Get them down your call as well. They can come and advertise your show.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have them down. I
was going to say someone's name, but I don't actually know anybody because I'm culturally inept.
Yeah, it's not our thing. But I think they will know what to do. But obviously, that Peter said he doesn't want to hang on to the British title, and I think that's the right decision because there's not really any mileage in fighting a Joe Joyce, and I think that's the same for a lot of the boxers out there. You get this big lump who just relentlessly plows forward, and it's really, even if you beat him, you're going to have a career-ending fight beating him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to be a fight that's going to take a lot out of you in your career. And what are you getting out of it? He's got a ranking.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got that big George Foreman style of just lumping.
I actually like watching Joe Joyce, so I'm a Joe Joyce.
I'm alright with it.
I'm a Joe Joyce fan, but I'm just saying that he doesn't offer a lot of. He offers all the risk and very little reward, and we've had this all which is over before. But so I think from that perspective, that's where we sit.
Joe Joyce reminds me of. Do you ever play Wii Sports? Where you did the boxing game, and you just throw like relentless amounts of punches, some of which might land, some of which are miles off. Don't really give it that much thought, but that's what Joe Joyce is like to me. But it's effective, and he's stopping people, and he's heavy-handed.
I like watching him.
Yeah,
he's entertaining. So, and
bruiser.
They're doing a great job with him, and again, they're fast-tracking him, and everything they've wanted to do so far, they've delivered, and fantastic. So good on Joe Joyce again. He needs obviously to keep active, and you need the investment to get him to the levels he needs to get to.
Yeah. Right, before we go then, details for your call Saturday. What time are the doors for people?
Doors are 3:45. Boxing starts at 4:15. And there's 17 bouts. Livia's promoting it. 17 bouts. So there's a lot of action, and you've got, as I said, you've got some of the fights that are really worth the double church. The Prospere Nathan Weise, the John Palata, Deion Jumah in his last fight before he goes for titles. They are the highlights of the show. And they are 4 really, really good highlights.
As well as many other names.
Fantastic. There's all up and coming. The AD Burns of this world who are building, who's 25 in the country. There's a lot of kids on there. Adrian Martin who's really building, he's 7-0 now. There's great fights underneath. I've just picked the top 4 fights. And the highlights of that show. But there are so many fights to go and watch. The Mo Gharibs of the world, Louis Isaacs, who looks fantastic. It's a great start to finish. It's a great.
So 3:45 York Hall. Tickets available on iBoxing tickets or from the boxers. Still get hold of the boxers.
And just come down to York Hall if you want a good night.
Excellent.
Saturday.
Right, we'll leave it there. We'll be back next week to preview the show the following week. And then I'll be off for a couple of weeks because I'm getting cut up in surgery. But
not great.
No, not 35 years old. There you go. Right, take care everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.